Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back into the video from Mother's Basement, and today we are checking out the best anime of 2025. So we've got 4 videos I want to check out to finish off this month from Mother's Basement. We've got the best anime of 2025, the worst anime of 2025, the winter 2026 sequel situation, which I think is going to be good because like there's a lot of good sequels out this season, and then the ones to watch for this season. Those 4 videos to finish off this month I think is perfect. We find out things I want to watch that I've missed, things to avoid when I'm doing a catch-up. Let's check out what's coming back. What do we watch this season? So let's get into this. Let's see what was popping last year.
Never let anyone tell you you can't have too much of a good thing.
Okay.
2025 was one of the greatest years of all time for anime, if not the greatest, and at the end of it, I just feel exhausted, man. Don't get me wrong, I am also thrilled with all of the incredible anime that I got to watch this year, but I'm also bummed at all of the ones that I just wasn't able to find time for, and how many that I did find time for, I couldn't find space for on this top 10, even without putting any sequels on it, which we don't do because it's supposed to be, you know, recommendations,
which is
so
cool.
That people can jump in and watch.
I like that, because I like that he does the sequel videos separately, because obviously there comes a point where you have to talk about the sequels, and this season, my goodness. But yeah, I am actually finally getting back into watching anime properly. So yeah, this year's going to be a fun year. I've got a lot of plans for different videos as well. I'm literally setting up the room for a video I'm doing in the next couple of weeks to do a reaction video slightly differently than I normally do. Wait for it, but yeah, let's go.
All the good anime. The flip side of that is you are about to see quite possibly the most stacked list I have ever put on this channel.
Nice.
Except maybe the greatest isekai list, but
Ooh.
Holy crap, it took a lot out of me. These are Mother's Basement's best anime of 2025, brought to you by Mother's Basement. As a rule, I don't generally put shorter anime on the
Ooh, yeah,
list,
this was
that's
meant to be
mainly important
decent.
for the trash ones.
Oh, sorry, I thought I was literally talking about the YouTube original thing there that showed up. But anyway.
Keep the number of cute animal stock clips we gotta pay for down. Sometimes you gotta say screw the rules, though, especially when they might stop you from celebrating an achievement as impressive as 10th place Milky Subway, the Galactic.
Oh, they are talking about, yeah. Oh, okay, cool. This looks boss. Because this is on YouTube, isn't it? Like, if I remember correctly.
Now, maybe you look at that and think, what's the achievement exactly? I mean, we've all seen CG anime before, and sure, most of them don't have body language anywhere near that expressive, art direction that charming, or comic timing that on point, but so what? That just makes it a good anime. Well, what if I told you that all 12 episodes of that good anime were animated by one guy? 3 years ago, a YouTube animator named Yohei uploaded a fun little short film called Milky Highway about 2 cute alien girls on a Sunday space drive jamming to their favorite space pop song so hard that they accidentally get into a high-speed space chase and blow up a space police drone.
Wow.
Milky Subway picks up right where its prequel left off as they and...
That's so cool. So we made the short, got popular, and went, right, I'm making a series, and it just continues straight after. Love it.
4 other space delinquents are sentenced to clean up the titular space train as part of their space community service, which, as you saw, somehow leads to another high-speed chase and the toaster girl getting her head blown off. I will leave the precise details of that somehow for you to discover, though, since you can watch the whole series right now, right here on YouTube with a pretty good dub even, for free in a little over half an hour, and immediately see for yourself what makes it so damn good.
Cool.
So, if you need me to give you the short version, incredibly dense cinematic storytelling and comedy fueled by strong storyboards, stronger writing, phenomenal animated performances, and a snappy, overlappy style of naturalistic dialogue that makes the whole thing deeply satisfying to both watch and rewatch.
It looks
To
great.
be clear, it would still be impressive and one of the year's best and funniest anime if it was made by an entire studio. But the fact that I can fit
One
all of the
guy.
credits onto one screen
Whoa!
is insane.
That is mental.
It really is remarkable how new technology keeps empowering independent artists to do the work of much bigger teams, not you. But at the same time, it's hard to shake the feeling that we've lost something intangible and important along the way. One of these new YouTube indie anime, Dungeons and Television, actually tries to recapture some of that old magic using traditional cell animation in its OP, and that is really cool
Yeah,
to
that's
see,
cool,
but
yeah.
it's not quite the same as having a whole fantasy series steeped in that classic earthy
Escaflowne.
analog vibe. Luckily, modern tech also lets us fake that, as seen in number 9, Clevites.
Clever test. Mate, this is on my... I've added this to my watch list, like, because season 2's been announced for July, so I'm like, oh, okay, it got greenlit for another season. The opening episode looked very, very intriguing. I've seen a lot of clips on Facebook, so I'm gonna have to give this a go. Does look good.
As aesthetically breathtaking as it is, Clevites's fantasy world is a little on the small side, with the various races of man hemmed in on all sides by hordes of unfathomably powerful dark beasts. Our drive to explore and conquer won't be so easily contained, though, and prophecies tell of the day when heroes armed with magic weapons, which can only be forged by the King of Haydn, will rise up to slay the 4 beast lords and free humanity from its cage. And after the titular beast lord, Clevites, is done mopping 13 heroes worth of giblets off his doorstep, he decides to tell humanity exactly where they can shove that prophecy. But when he finds a small child crying
yeah.
in the smoking rubble of Haydn, his fate
He's like, I'm gonna give him a go. I'm gonna give him a chance to prove me wrong.
is set on a new course. Using dark magic, he revives the least eviscerated hero, Alicia, as his undying minion to help him raise the baby Luna and guard them both on an undercover journey through the world, that he might gain mankind's measure through the eyes of an impartial innocent, and in so doing determine if any of us are worth sparing his wrath.
Interesting
and thus,
concept,
Three
yeah.
Men and a Baby meets Lord of the Rings in an epic dark fantasy quest that actually lives up to the epic and dark fantasy parts of that sentence. We're talking very dark here, by the way. Slavery, including the sexual variety, is presented unflinchingly on screen, but it does treat those subjects with the weight they deserve and avoids objectifying their victims.
Right,
and
okay.
I think it's worth powering through even if you have a weak stomach for that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean,
because
yeah.
with a rich, nuanced world, unconventional and interconnected power systems, and a whole mess of genuinely kick-ass action strung together by clever and heartfelt storytelling, there is plenty to recommend Clevites to fantasy enjoyers of all stripes.
Fair.
I'd go so far as to call it the secret big fourth of the new Big Fantasy 3 of Frieren, Dungeon Meshi, and Witch Hat Atelier. But despite all that,
Nice.
my favorite thing about it is just the vibe, man. Even more so than Megalobox, it makes me feel
Oh, comparing it to Megalobox makes me want to watch it so much more. That's one of my all-time faves, man.
a certain kind of way that no other anime from the last quarter
Megalobox.
century
And season 2
has.
is
And I think
so
you'll
good
feel
as
the
well.
same if you give
We're
it
gonna
a
go season 1,
On the
but
other
yeah.
hand, if you want a dark fantasy,
Oh, I need to watch this one as well, my god.
like any anime you've seen before, you should keep an eye
This
on
looks
8th place, Gachiakuta.
ルドが大事に使ってやればきっといつか魂が宿るそしてそれは必ずお前に力を貸すだろう
Well, there is one very short anime that comes pretty close conceptually to Gachiakuta's literal dumpster of a world, Battle Angel Alita.
Alita. Oh.
But where that classic cyberpunk manga and its adaptations frame Zalem, the floating world of the elites who've left everyone else to rummage through their trash as a far-off mystery, Gachiakuta starts with its slum rat hero already living there, so he and we can see exactly how rotten and
the divide,
frivolous the society of the Sphere really is beneath its over-polished facade before they cast him over the edge with the rest of the day's garbage. After somehow surviving that fall, Rudo finds himself unexpectedly at home in an underworld full of other scrappy survivors. Before long, he's taken in by the Cleaners, a group of givers who use the incredible powers they can channel through their most cherished treasures to defend ordinary folks from hulking monstrosities of living garbage that terrorize the toxic wastes. And with their help, plus his own giver gloves, which can draw such power out of any piece of trash, Rudo plans to claw his way back up to the Sphere and send everyone who took everything from him crashing down to Earth.
Revenge! We love to watch it, don't we? We love to see a good revenge story. That's what we're here for, really, with a lot of these shows. Get their comeuppance. We want to see someone thrown down to the depths like this and then build their way back up and give the person who sent them there their just desserts.
Gachiakuta is punk as specifically thrash punk in its musical stylings and Shibuya punk in its setting and vibe. That's the same micro-genre as Jet Set Radio, No More Heroes, Scott Pilgrim, and The World Ends With You, by the way, if you're not familiar with the term, like I wasn't until I started researching this anime and said, oh, pretty much all my favorite things are that. But even within that space...
Because No More Heroes never played, but I watched back in the day when two best friends did the playthroughs and that. I watched them play through No More Heroes. Cool game.
Gachiakuta stands out for how starkly its gritty, grimy, garbage pile of a world contrasts with all the life and culture and art that thrives within it. Not everyone's gonna with this anime. Kei Urana's art style is intentionally sharp and abrasive.
It looks
closer
great.
to what you'd expect to see sprayed on a Tokyo underpass than inked on the page of a manga. And Bones adapts her work very faithfully.
Nice.
I know quite a few folks who've called the characters ugly, and I wouldn't necessarily disagree, though I would argue that often belies their beautiful souls. This is a story full of warmth and kindness where you least expect to find it, and more than once the cast caught me off guard with a potent combination of vulnerability and brutal honesty. That said, some things about the show and the aspects of humanity it explores are just plain ugly, and while, like Clevites, Gachiakuta handles those subjects with the gravitas they deserve, and even more sensitivity, if you have a hard time with depictions of grooming and child abuse, consider yourself warned. There is no good way to segue off.
To Be Hero X, let's go!
So 7th place goes to To Be Hero X.
Alright! Let's have it! This is so good.
If there's any genre that's harder to find a fresh angle on than isekai, it's gotta be superheroes. But
definitely, it's so oversaturated within recent years, and I feel like My Hero Academia threw the final season out at just the right time. I think people are getting bored of it. Like, final season just happened, boom, which I do need to catch up on, to be honest. But then I feel like they don't want the franchise to completely die off because there's still money to be made, so Vigilantes is getting a season 2. I feel sorry for Vigilantes because I don't think they should have made it into an anime because, like you're saying, this sort of genre is so oversaturated now. My Hero Academia got out at just the right time. I don't think Vigilantes is gonna get more than a second season. I mean, they've probably greenlit it for a third one already, thinking that, like, yo, it's My Hero Academia, put that in the title, it's gonna be great. But I don't know. Avengers Doomsday could be bringing more of a resurgence because loads of people are into the trailers and all that stuff, and I am going to see that on day one when it comes out because I want Marvel to get back to where it was. But I don't know.
The Hero X pulls it off with an elegantly topical high concept. Instead of radiation or mutation, this world's heroes get their powers from the people.
Yeah.
Our perception of, trust in, and wishes for them, as represented by a magic follower count, shape their abilities. Villains and monsters, meanwhile, are quite literally fueled by fear, their own and that of the public, which make their powers more potent but also volatile. Trust is just as much of a double-edged sword, though. If the masses need a man who will always stand tall in the face of anything,
They've got to
that
believe in
can
them.
make him invincible, yet at the same time render him incapable of falling for any reason, even if it's just to sleep or sit down to take a shit. And while the system does mean that anyone can be a hero, that also means anyone can be a hero. Many spend more time jockeying for better rankings than they do saving people, and should a villain or rival wish to take one down, it's often easier to attack their image than the person themselves.
Yeah.
Plus, it's just as easy for folks to put their trust in the wrong people as the right ones, especially when they have money to burn on PR campaigns and sock puppet armies. It's a fairly transparent allegory for the modern social media landscape. One major platform in universe is literally called FOMO, but the satire is no less effective for its blatancy, and the show uses it as a springboard for all manner of dramatic story arcs about deeply human heroes, which interweave into a grand, non-linear tapestry of lingering mysteries and lurking conspiracies centered around the massive annual tournament to crown the top hero, X. And in case all this talk of themes and social commentary has you worried, rest assured the fights in that tournament and outside it whoop all kinds of butt.
And it's cool that it goes through different animation styles as well with this show as well. You got the CG and then like the 2D stuff, and then it's so creative.
Under the visionary direction of Li Haoling, 2B Hero X employs a bold mixed media approach to its animation, blending 3D scenes reminiscent of Arcane with high-quality 2D visuals, often, but not always, reminiscent of the heavy shading and screen tone colors of American comics. Combine that with some wildly creative power sets and Hiroyuki motherfucking Sawano music, and you've got a recipe for the most exciting action you will see this year, at least on the small screen. That'd be a real good segue into Reze arc if we were doing sequels. But thankfully, spin-offs are a whole lot more accessible.
Which I've still not seen.
For
I
new
need to see the Reze movie. I thought it was put on Crunchyroll and I can't find it, so I might be being an idiot. Yeah, I didn't see the Demon Slayer movie, and they're not showing that anytime soon on streaming, which is pissing me off as well.
Than sequels, so I have no rules against handing 6th place to Uma Musume Cinderella Grey.
This is meant to be incredible.
I'm also quite thankful that the Uma Musume games finally took off stateside this year, so I don't have to spend half this entry explaining.
Mate, watch Guguk's video on this series as well. Like, it makes it so interesting. Like, he leaves it till like near the end of the video where he tells you, and it's not spoilers, it's just like interesting. He goes, and just to top everything else off, on top of how good the animation is, how good how interesting the races are, and how you're constantly like on edge for the races. They're all based off of actual horse races that have happened in real life. And it's like, what? What? So sick.
Horse girl lore. In fact, if you're horse curious, it's hard to think of a better jumping on point than this anime, which eases us into the absurdities of the Uma Musume setting through the eyes of Oguri Cap, a country bumpkin from the backwater regional racing circuit of Kasamatsu, whose fierce competitive spirit and unabashed love of the game eventually lead her to dominate on a national level. It's a hot-blooded sports drama full of big J-rock shonen energy, despite having originally run in a seinen magazine, one that manages to hit hard without relying on your typical underdog tropes. And it stands out even further from the sports anime pack by being impressively historically accurate.
There we go.
In real life,
There we go.
Oguri Cap was one of the horses known as the Heisei Big Three, who sparked a resurgence of Japanese horse racing at the turn of the 90s that directly led to the rise of horse racing simulators as a gaming genre and, eventually, Uma Musume. And more than any of his contemporaries, Oguri's track record makes for ideal
The same symbol on the
biopic
freaking head that she
rags
wears.
to
Like,
riches
yo.
rise, leading to a dramatic roller coaster ride of hard-won triumphs and bittersweet defeats against a field of equally legendary rivals. An idol in his time who literally changed the game and was so beloved he helped invent the concept of racehorse merch. So
Yeah.
this scene is probably a real thing that happened in real life, not just a sly bit of Cygames product placement. Though to be clear, it is absolutely that too, and we really can't ignore just how much of a factor all the merch and gacha money is in just how well this and every other Cygames Pictures anime turned out this year. With high-grade Sakuga in even the most low-key episodes, star-studded stud casting in even minor roles, and music by the legendary Kenji Kawai, the production values never stop impressing, and while the hilariously memorable cast of characters and tight adrenaline-fueled story are the main things that earned it a spot on this list, that certainly doesn't hurt its placement. As great as Cygames Pictures' glorified gacha ads can be, though, what I really respect about the studio is how much of that money they funnel into making just cool shit that has nothing to do with any of their games, like last year's 5th best anime, Bang Bang
shit,
Bang
yeah.
Bang Burn, and this year's 5th place finisher, the Summer Hikaru died.
Died, yeah.
やっぱ惹かれちゃうよ
Oh, it's so creepy.
なんでや完璧に模倣したはずやのに
Not quite. So weird.
Anime does quite a lot of things better than any other form of art, but being scary has never really been one of them. So the fact that this show is so consistently and effectively creepy is a huge flex in and of itself. Ryohei Takeshita's perfectly placed pillow shots and masterful mood lighting combine with Koji Kasamatsu's pitch-perfect sound design to underscore moments of apparent normalcy with deep feelings of unease, leaving us teetering on the edge as the next big scare takes its sweet time winding up to bowl us over. And that spellbinding presentation acts in service of a seriously inspired story. After Hikaru Indo goes missing for a week on a very haunted mountain, only his best friend Yoshiki seems to notice that he died and came back a little wrong.
Yeah.
He knows Hikaru better than anyone. After all, he's been in love with him for years. So this is
It's such a weird, creepy concept, isn't it? Because the being that's taken over him has all his memories. So he wants to get to know him, to know what he knows about his friend, and know what he thought about him. It's like, God, it's dark.
quite the devastating turn of events, but it's more complicated than that. Not only is this new Hikaru still a source of comfort in his grief, but it's a lot more open with feelings Yoshiki always wanted the original to express. Feelings that we'll never know for sure if the real Hikaru ever reciprocated, and while the thing that wears his skin now is very fond of Yoshiki, crazy about him even, that is almost certainly not the same thing. But it is dangerously close to close enough, and as he sorts those feelings out, it only draws closer, as do all the other things that followed it down off the mountain.
Yeah, in the
What's
forest,
more,
yeah.
for the young gay man who's long hid his true self from a very small town, there's something uncomfortably relatable about its innocent yearning to belong that makes him want to support it even as he learns just how dangerous it really is. This is psychological horror at its deepest and most compelling, as rich in character as it is eldritch lore, and likely the closest we'll ever come to a proper Silent Hill anime. If I have any complaint at all, it's only that the
Although I did like the Silent Hill. Oh, anime. Sorry. Okay. Wow, correcting myself here, but like I really like the Silent Hill movie, and I want the sequel to be shown this movie. Didn't need to put. That's silly. I corrected myself and then carried on.
show ends a little too abruptly on a merely eerie note, without hitting any of the truly horrific payoffs it's so clearly building up to, but with at least another season's worth of ongoing manga left to adapt. That's far preferable to the anime original alternative. I mean, that sort of thing's just best left to original anime with their own stories to tell. And few such stories this year were told better than number 4, Zenshu, which I will play a clip of in just a sec, but they are real aggressive with the copyright on this one, so I'm just gonna hold on my face and the poster over here for a couple moments longer, just to make sure that at least the name of the anime makes it into the video if I have to cut the rest of it. Okay, I think we're good.
I need to pee.
Zenshu is an isekai, but one more in the vein of the never-ending story than In Another World with my unresolved mommy issues. Not to say that Natsuko Hirose doesn't have plenty of her own issues to resolve, but the young anime directing virtuoso's food poisoning-induced trip to the world of her favorite movie is more about confronting those issues than avoiding them perpetually in the arms of several big-tittied love interests. Which is also not to say that her singular love interest doesn't have pretty big titties of his own, but I'm getting off track here. Considered in the show's fiction to be the biggest flop of the Heisei era, Tale of Perishing was a dark fantasy film in cutesy clothes about a dwindling group of heroes' futile efforts to fend off the end of their gorgeous magical world. Most folks didn't really get the movie or its mega bummer ending, and young Natsuko was no exception on her first viewing, but something about it really stuck with her, sparking an obsession with it and animation in general that would eventually lead her to a wildly successful directing debut of her own at just 22, along with the rare chance to helm her own original anime film titled First Love. Unfortunately, spending your entire childhood obsessively honing a craft doesn't exactly leave much room for relationships, let alone romance, and she was never one to ask others for help to begin with, so that subject proves increasingly elusive as her deadline looms ever closer, until some bad oysters send Natsuko to Tale of Perishing's doomed world.
Some bad oysters. Oh. Good lad, I don't like them.
There, armed with a magic pegboard that can bring anything she draws to life, she has a chance to save all her faves from the unhappy ending that awaits them, and, more importantly, to look at her own fictional first love with fresh eyes.
Aww.
It's a genuinely inspired setup, both for a bittersweet tale of self-discovery and a passionate visual love letter to animation as a medium, and the payoff in both regards is just as brilliant. Whenever Natsuko sits down to draw, the results are guaranteed.
It looks so cool.
To make
Wow,
any
cool.
anime aficionado go. But perhaps even more impressive than that is the fake anime that serves as the backdrop to all those references, which feels as tangible and fleshed out as any real production I can think of. It's a world full of vibrant personalities with deep history and diverse cultures rendered in a charmingly distinct visual style. We may never actually be able to watch the made-up movie that inspired Natsuko, but it's easy to see why she fell in love with it. I just wish I could say the same for the world of my third place pick, Taco P's Original Sin, since it's the one we actually have to live on.
I've not watched this. This seems like a really good watch, like a dark kind of watch, but this seems like a good one.
If there's one anime on this list, I'd suggest skipping ahead to the next entry so you can watch it completely blind. It's this one. And with a scant 6 episodes to get through, that's not even all that big an ask. Though I would not suggest trying to binge them all in one go. Taco P is one of those shows you really want to digest slowly.
Right.
In part so you can savor all the gorgeously evocative animation that suffuses every minute of every one of those episodes, but mostly because if you don't, you are going to be sick to your stomach, and even taking it slow can only help so much with that. Taco P is a cute little cartoon alien guy from the planet Happy who comes to Earth with the sole goal of making everyone he meets smile with his fun magic space gadgets, just like Doraemon. Unfortunately, Taco P didn't land on the cute little cartoon Earth from Doraemon, but rather the real-ass one, where people have real-ass problems like bullying and cheating spouses and all flavors of child
all
abuse
that horrible
those
stuff that exists that we have to put up with.
To help with, at least not if you use them for their intended purpose. And Taco P, being a dumb little cartoon alien guy hopped up on toxic positivity who acts first and thinks basically never, is even less helpful than any of the stuff he brought. Some might even say the opposite of helpful, not that he'd listen. This is one of those anime that forces you to stare directly into the void. A sight made all the more unnerving through such dangerously naive, childlike eyes, pulling the rug out time and again, making you question your own most basic assumptions about morality as Taco P paves a path to hell for himself and the hapless kids around him, one good intention at a time. A viewing experience as moving and edifying as it is exhausting. I will cherish my time with this show for the rest of my life. But let me tell you, I will not be rushing to experience it again anytime soon. If there's one thing I do wish I could do over, it's putting...
I need to watch this anime. I need to. I forgot about this. I forgot about this anime. Wow. This must have been like early last year, because I think this came out when I was in the last house. You know, before I bought this one and I owned my own place, and now I feel more invigorated and in control of my life.
Orb on the movements of the Earth as low as I did on last year's list when it was only half finished. If I could have seen the whole thing before I ranked it, it would have easily taken third place. But thankfully, even though my rules expressly forbid double dipping, I can kinda make up for it by placing this year's other adaptation of an Uoto masterpiece, 100 Meters, in second.
I don't recall this at all. And if it's been in videos I've watched, then I've just been too drunk while reacting. A running anime, I'm always down with these. Like, one of my all-time favourite things was Run with the Wind. That's such a good anime, because I love running myself, and then seeing like it portrayed as... right, what is this?
Adapted from Uoto's short web manga of the same name, the film follows two boys, the fastest kid in school and the slowest transfer student.
Are we going to get honourable mentions for number one? There'll be honourable mentions, will there?
As they grow up together, then apart, charting parallel, intertwining courses through the brutally competitive field of track sprinting. Struggling against the odds and their own flagging bodies and minds to make their mark in a world where if you're not the fastest, you may as well not exist. It's a powerful story of hard work and talent still adding up to nowhere near enough.
I mean, I could never be this competitive. I did a half marathon yesterday. 1 hour 52. I was quite happy with that. I ran 50 miles in total last week, Monday through to Sunday, just to like get back into it, and I loved it. And then yesterday when I ran that half marathon, I told myself I was going to take it easy, 2 hours, no problem. But then my friends were running who are actually very, like, they're a lot more fit than me. They do, like, triathlons. They do two triathlons every year. And there's this 1/2 marathon every January that we run. And they were running. And I thought, right, I'll stick with them as long as I can. And I stuck with them the whole run. And I was like, oh, I have done a lot better than I thought. Like, it's a mental game sometimes. I told myself, I can't run that fast. But then I did. Believe in yourself. Self-doubt's crap.
Of dreams splattered
I don't know where I'm going with
against
this.
the uncaring side of a harsh reality.
But I was very
and the
pleasantly surprised for
willpower
1 hour
it takes
52.
to
It was
face
great.
that reality head on, and
Not my best time. I did 1 hour 45 last year because I really worked for it to train for it, blah, blah, blah. But again, this year I went in thinking, I can't possibly do that. I've not trained enough. 2 hours will be fine. 1 hour 52 by sticking with these two guys that do a lot more than me. Yeah. But side note, my brother, who is an absolute athlete, ran that same run 1 hour 23. He is a legend.
deny it with all your heart. Up there with Ping Pong and Chihaya Furu at the pinnacle of the sports anime pantheon, it is, much like Orb, a deeply philosophical work that gave me a new perspective on life once again, this time
So
in
Orb was
just
last year, right,
106 minutes, where that story was about how the
Before.
power of the written word allows our lives
We're in
to echo
2026 now.
across centuries. This one explores how its titular sport can condense a man's entire existence to just 10 seconds. Honestly, it's a little scary to think that this mangaka isn't even 30 yet. Both of his stories are clearly products of profound wisdom well beyond his years. And for as much as Kenichi Shimizu and Madhouse's adaptation of Orb elevates that material, Kenji Iwaisawa and Rock and Roll Mountain's take on 100 meters rockets past it into the stratosphere. The sound design is immaculate, the acting from animators and seiyuu alike impeccable, and the cinematography as bold and evocative as anything else in the medium. It's the best movie I've seen all year,
Oh, so it's
and
a
it's
film,
not
right, okay.
particularly close. Even as a TV guy who'd much rather live in an anime's world for weeks than visit it for an afternoon, I can't deny greatness on this level when it's staring me in the face.
Yeah,
and
fair.
I'm so happy that it's finally coming to Netflix at the end of this month so that
Oh,
everyone
class.
who missed its tragically brief sprint through theaters can experience that for themselves.
Awesome.
As great as it is, though, one anime this year still surpassed it, and you'll find out which after we run through all the runners-up, plus all them good sequels I wouldn't let myself put on the actual list.
I knew it. We're getting honorable mentions. Oh, this looked cool. This anime looked cool.
With how insanely stacked the year was, I'll be grouping those honorable mentions up by genre just to keep them manageable, starting with comedy and quite possibly the most honorable
City
of
Look
all,
Boss.
City, KyoAni's spiritual successor to Nichijou, which features objectively the best animation of any show or movie this year, and if Milky Subway weren't so damn funny, it still wouldn't quite have made the list, but it would have been the runner-up. Rock is a Lady's Modesty isn't
Mate,
quite
yeah,
that
that'll
pretty,
look class
but
as well.
it is a
Yo.
little bit funnier and still features some solid animation courtesy of Sunrise, particularly the CGI used in its musical performances. And Shaft deserves a huge shout-out for the sheer variety they brought to the visual
Oh yeah, that looked really fucking cool. I remember that one.
comedy of a ninja and assassin under one roof, which even briefly managed to emulate a more convincing retro anime look than Clevitas. Speaking of ninjas, though, Ninja vs.
Oh, that looked fun. That looked fun.
Violence hits a so bad it's hilarious note, only enhanced by a dub that is atrocious in the best way possible, making for perfect anime night with the bros fodder.
Oh, perfect. I need those. Yes.
Or if you'd prefer an action comedy that's unironically funny, Sakamoto Days offers a fun, family-friendly
That's
take
done
on
so
the
well.
John Wick myth.
So you can tell when an anime's done well when there's a Funko Pop line. I'm sorry. I love me Funko Pops. Love them. But if an anime's got a Funko Pop line, it's done well.
mythos, while Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider serves as a brilliantly surreal tribute to the legacy and cultural impact of Japan's favorite superhero. Getting into pure action anime, the My Hero Academia spin-off Vigilantes offers a gritty, street-level perspective on the world of America's favorite Japanese superheroes, while Yaiba tackles a fairly basic, kid-friendly battle shonen plot with some of the most insanely gorgeous animation this side of city.
I
The
wonder
first half
number
of the
one's
year
gonna
also
be.
brought us 3
Excuse me.
really gorgeous dramas in Flower and Ashura, a story of
Because it's not going to be a sequel. Don't know. Free run? Free run? Season 1? Season 2's out this year. I reckon it's going to be free run.
about the power of spoken word storytelling and finding the courage to dream big. And speaking of big dreamers, Anne Shirley, which hit me right in the Canadian nationalism by
Mate,
reimagining
yeah, that's
Anne
pretty
of
rich.
Green
We got that.
Gables in stunning cinematic fashion that gives even Isao Takahata's classic adaptation a serious run for its money. Big dreams will only get you so far without supporters who believe in you, though, which is what the instant classic sports drama Medalist is all about. A young figure skater bursting with unrealized potential and the one man with the vision to unlock it. That one came third closest to making the list, right after City. 2025 was a little light on sports anime otherwise, but for as much flack as One Dance deservedly caught for its Terabad 3D models,
Yeah.
I still think its story, characters, and dance choreography make it very
Oh, okay,
worthwhile.
fair.
Catch You at the Ballpark may sound like a sports anime, but it's actually a slice of life series about the folks in the stands, which stands out for its laid-back, mature vibe. Something I also really appreciated about the Girl and Her Definitely a Dog
With You in the
comedy
Rain.
With You in the Rain,
Yeah, that looked
and
good.
Solo
That looked
Camping
good.
for Two. If you're more in the mood for moe slice of life, I do hope you like that last one's outdoorsy vibe, because you'll get a double
Mono.
dose of it in Mono, a series about goofing off with action cameras from the creator of Yoru Camp, and Ruri Rocks, a cute, relaxing little show
yes.
about the wonders of geology and incredibly tight pants. Holy shit. Speaking of intrusive, horny thoughts, though, 2025 dropped a
Mate, yeah, this Sander looked good. I want to check this out. Sander looked great. What a concept.
ton of great new mysteries on us, with the greatest of all being Paru Itagaki and Science Saru's surreal supernatural coming-of-age Christmas political thriller Sanda, which was my first runner-up for the list, and I do really wish I could have put it on because it is deeply underrated.
Seems so
but
cool.
Then so is the beautifully moody,
Shibake.
horror-tinged period mystery Shibake and the Death Parade-esque Tasokare Hotel.
Oh, the hotel,
If you want your
yeah.
mysteries a little more down to earth, Ameku MD Dr. Detective is basically House if House was a waifu, so
Oh,
basically
yeah, okay.
House.
I
Or
was
if you
sneeze.
want them as far from Earth as it gets, the Among Us-esque
Yep.
Nausea is a tense, atmospheric, and gorgeously animated space thriller. As pure
Excuse me.
sci-fi goes, the new Digimon Beat Break
Hey, Digimon's making a comeback. Like, we had Bait Break and then there's another one that's recently popped up as well. Digimon is making a comeback.
is a surprisingly compelling piece of cyberpunk fiction with fantastic world building and the best balance of story, character, and action the series has seen since Tamers. Gundam G-Quax and Lazarus, meanwhile,
Oh, why have I not watched G-Quax? I need to watch this. Ah!
both represent legendary animators playing with big, bold ideas in tribute to the legacy of
Oh, Lazarus
all-time
as well.
classic
Ah!
Sunrise anime. And while both fell short of their potential due to their short runtimes, they were still pretty damn good in spite of that, as was Kowloon Generic Romance, which, tragically rushed adaptation aside,
Oh, wow,
delivered
yeah,
impeccable
this seemed
vibes and
cool.
one of the
Seemed like a
hottest
lot of
anime
mystery in
women
that.
ever drawn. If you're in the mood for actual generic romance, Honey Lemon Soda and The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity deliver very satisfying results in shoujo and shonen flavors, respectively. Or if you want more of a romantasy type thing, I'd recommend Betrothed to My Sister's Ex for sugary, sweet Disney princess vibes, and Pass the Monster Meat, m'lady, for a slightly spicier tale of perfectly matched freaks finding each other. If you prefer getting monsters in your guts by other
This seems really weird. it, and I don't want to watch it.
Means you should also check out With You Our Love Will Make.
I don't want to watch this one, no.
Sapphic monster f***ing. There's
That's
Monster
what I want to watch.
wants to eat me.
Yes.
Speaking of Yuri lovers eating well, there's no freaking way I'll be your lover unless,
Unless.
aka Murray Yuri's messily intertwining lesbian love stories.
Let's
make it
go.
the year's best harem comedy by far.
Let's
And that's
have it.
no small feat next to competition like Dealing with the Mikadono Sisters is a breeze, and
That
Chikose
looks fun.
is in the Ramune bottle. Unfortunately, there's no good hybrid harems that let me segue into isekai from there, unless you count Twisted Wonderland.
Twisted
which,
Wonderland seems quite popular as well, but I think it's just Disney forcing it on. Like, whenever I go into a shop to watch stuff, it's like, they don't put these Twisted Wonderland stuff in the anime section. It's just the Disney section, and the Disney section is huge, so they literally just thrown in the front of the Disney section.
It's not really a harem. It is very good, though, and I do want to take this chance to very quickly correct something I got wrong in the trash video last week, which is the villains didn't win in Twisted Wonderland's world. There's actually some historical revisionism going on. Anyway, other isekai we got to talk about. From that trashiest list, Dark History of the Reincarnated Villainess and I'm the Evil Lord of an Intergalactic Empire
That
also
looked good.
deserve honorable mentions.
That
While
don't
we're
look
at it,
good.
so do Nukitashi, and please put them on Takamine's.
What is number
If
one?
there's such a thing as a
Number one has to be Freerun then, surely, because that was last year, wasn't it? Wasn't it? It's gonna be free. It's gonna be Freerun. It's going to be solo leveling. No, that was season 2. It's gonna be Freerun.
friendship harem, I suppose Red Ranger in Another World would have made an okay segue too. And if you enjoy that kind of
One Punch Man season 3.
on the Okaiten region,
I imagine.
delightfully neat-headed
Sorry,
actioning hero,
it's so
one
bad.
of the most unique
And
worlds
it's got
in all of
a
isekai.
second part
That's
going
also
on.
a strong feature of
Which I'm actually quite happy about, because I don't read the One Punch Man manga. Oh, I'm anime only. I want to see how the story continues. And I think it just makes it funnier that the animation is just god awful and everyone's still talking about it. So, when they say there's no such thing as bad publicity, yeah.
my buddy Garnt's new short film, Bond, The Boundary of Adulthood, which takes heavy inspiration from...
Mate, this was so good. I loved this film. It was great, and it was cool to see Guguk have a film out. And I reacted to it. If you want to watch my reaction to it, you can do that. I loved it.
Time mythology and Lord of Mysteries, a gorgeous
I
Chinese cultivation.
still need to watch this because I love watching cook content videos of anime stuff, and Anime News did a few of that, and I think I might just do that in February just to check those out.
Style isekai set in basically Yarnum, or if you'd prefer to see a more conventional fantasy world painted with such refined
So
atmosphere
many
and
recommendations.
Art, my status as an assassin obviously exceeds the heroes is another solid choice. Ugly Mug Epic
Excuse
Fighter
me.
is nowhere
Oh,
near
yeah,
that
this
pretty,
must be
but
good.
it has a surprisingly beautiful soul underneath all that. Something I also appreciated about the Overlord-esque A Wild Last boss appeared, though that one's as gorgeous on the outside as it is in. By a similar token, from bureaucrat to villainess, Dad's Been Reincarnated follows an 80s old taku who finds his salary mannerisms to be a big hit with the aristocracy in the world of his Gen Z daughter's favorite otome brain rot.
Cool.
And on that note, Scarlet, heroine of May I Ask for One Final
Yeah, this is so sick. This anime is so fucking cool. As soon as she gets to punch someone, it's like, yes, let's go.
25's best villainessy isekai adjacent type thing, and 14th best anime overall, is a noble lady with the soul of Hank Hill who decides to use her time-stopping magic powers to kick an entire otome brain rot world's ass. We even had some good ones of those f***ing things this year. The Banished Court Magician aims to become the strongest, hit pretty hard with its action scenes and likable, well-balanced cast, while the unaware Atelier Master's gimmick of making its hero actually underpowered in combat while still being OP at literally everything else made for some great comedy. Moving on to straight-up fantasy, Dungeons and Television, which I already mentioned, does still have an RPG-ish setting, as does From Old Country Bumpkin to Master
Yo,
Sword.
yeah, that's
Decidedly
good. I watched the first few
realistic
episodes of
approach
that.
to
Like, that
sword
was class.
fighting is as far from skill tree climbing stats.
I don't know why I didn't
nonsense
continue
as
that.
it gets. At
Do you ever get that where you start watching a show, but there's so many that you'd like, kind of like, you were enjoying it, and then you kind of forget it. for no other reason that there's just too much to watch. That's literally that with that.
First glance, Secrets of the Silent Witch seems like yet another villainess thing at a magic school full of handsome boys, but it cleverly repurposes that Otome game setting as a backdrop for an eclectic blend of Bocchi the Rock-style social anxiety moe and a fraught political spy thriller, making it my 5th runner-up for the year. Sword of the Demon Hunter brings fantasy to the real world in a story spanning many centuries of Japanese history, and if you're in the mood for an alternate take on
other
European
things
history
to recommend.
instead, Studio Orange's gorgeous adaptation of the Leviathan novels was certainly a great one. Steampunk does kind of straddle the line between...
Do you know what? As if we're on a 3rd season of Star Wars Visions. I've not even watched the 1st season of Star Wars Visions. Seen clips, looks boss. Like, I need to. I need to. There's so much. This is the year of me catching up. I'm pretty much up to date with Star Wars and Marvel. That was a big thing for me, catching up with both of those. So, yeah, anime is the next one.
fantasy and sci-fi, though.
Because I didn't realise that Heaven's Feel 1, 2, 3 are on Crunchyroll. Like, that blew my mind. I've seen Heaven's Feel 1, and then I bought 2, 3 on DVD, and then I went through a mad period where I was like, oh my god, I have no money, what do I do? So I went to a shop to trade in all of my random stuff that I had, including Heaven's Feel 2 and 3, to make sure I could pay for my bills and everything that time. And, yeah, I never thought I'd be able to see them again. Then I went to Crunchyroll. Yo! Heaven's Feel 1, 2, 3. So, yeah.
As does the Star Wars Visions anthology, which saw a 3rd installment this year. I don't think anthologies can really be counted as sequels due to their fractious nature, but that also makes them tricky
they're
to
standalone
rank on
episodes,
lists
aren't
like
they?
these in general. Rest assured, though, you will find some of the
Oh, these are so good.
animation
So good. So good. So good.
in both Star Wars and Tatsuki Fujimoto's
These are
1726.
incredible.
As banging as all the new anime was this year, though, the sequel lineup might well be more explosive. Literally, in the case of Chainsaw Man Reze Arc, which proved alongside Demon Slayer Infinity Castle that anime is still a force to be reckoned with in the global box office. And despite some minor quibbles I have with the film as a hardcore fan of the manga, I think it more than deserves all that success and acclaim. It's my 2nd favorite sequel of the year overall. It'll surprise no one to hear that first goes once again to Don Don, especially after I wrote that big love letter to it a couple months ago. Though even if the list did include sequels, I'd still have to put them both behind 100 meters. Speaking of things there are 100 of, that show about the guy with all the girlfriends who really love him continued to be one of the funniest things in all of anime, inspiring yet another love letter video essay from me early in the year. But if that's too many girlfriends for you, one of the best in all of anime also returned this year.
Yeah, I need to watch it. I love My Dress Up Darlings. It's not my normal go-to thing, but when I watched My Dress Up Darling, I just fell in love with it. It's just such a great series. So season 2 is going to get binged to fuck this year.
With even more gorgeous Sakuga, heartwarming expressions
She's
of nerdy
incredible.
passion, and clips of fake anime you'll wish were real in My Dress Up Darling Season 2. And for those who prefer a median number of girlfriends, Ranma Half's remake is still going strong to my inner child's endless delight. Meanwhile, my inner edgy 14-year-old
Panty and Stockings came back,
was just as
yes.
delighted with every last long-awaited episode of New Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt, which was somehow even better than the original. Same goes for Call of the Night 2nd season, which really raised the stakes in terms of drama and character depth in a show that already boasted one of anime's most uniquely delectable vibes. And the fact that I can also say the same
Never
about
seen an episode of
Apothecary
Apothecary Diaries,
Season
but
2,
like
even as
it
it's following
seems
up
to
one of
be
the tightest single-season
awesome.
mysteries ever put on television, surprised me about as much as finding a frog in my pants. One of last year's most pleasant surprises, I was reincarnated as the 7th prince so I can take my time
it's
perfecting
worth a
my
watch.
magical ability, continued to deliver its addictively bold mix of audacious comedy, fantastic fan service, and stunning magic-fueled action sequences this year. And if you take the action out of that sentence and replace it with alcohol poisoning, you've got the formula that made Grand Blue Dreaming as fun as ever in its long-awaited second dip. And all the action that you just took out of that and more can be found in so Solo Leveling, along with pretty much
So
nothing
good.
else of narrative value, but goddamn is
It's
that action
so...
ever f***ing cool.
Mate, if you want something fun to watch, Solo Leveling's the one to watch. My God, it's so cool.
Probably not as cool as the wild isekai battle royale nonsense going on in Ishura Season 2, but to my great shame and disappointment with myself, I spent some of my limited time on this earth watching Solo Leveling for content purposes instead of catching up on that, so I can't say for sure. And while I'm busy making that confession, I may as well list all the other things I should have also caught up on instead of Solo Leveling, including Shoshimin, To Your Eternity, Kinnikuman Perfect Origin Arc, Windbreaker, Go-Go Loser
Yes!
Ranger, Girls and Panzer, Arc Knights, My Happy Marriage, Bang Dream Ave Mujica, Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, and also I haven't watched the new Mononoke movie yet. And you know what? I'm probably going to watch Solo Leveling Season 3 instead of a lot of other good stuff when that comes out too, because that show is like goddamn popcorn, and I just
It is. You just can't take your eyes off it, can you?
I'm caught up on Dr. Stone, Kaiju Number 8, or
No.
Spy Family at present, but that's only because I've already read those manga and know how good they are. Stone and Spy
It's a
Family
bit difficult.
hit
Dr.
some of the
Stone,
best
no.
parts of their
But like
respective
Kaiju Number
manga
8,
this
I read the mangas as the volumes come out. So yeah, I kind of like just, I don't know what it is. As soon as I've read something, I'm like, oh, which is why Steel Ball Run is coming out this year. I've got the first 4 volumes of manga right here. I want to read them. I feel like it's going to put me off watching anime. But I feel like it'd be really good to read the mangas and watch the anime to see differences for when I do anime news is like content thing or differences or whatever. No, not even anime news. Sorry, Ham and Beat. But let's see what happens.
Here, though, so I do really want to catch up because I know that shit is gonna.
What's
make me
number
cry.
1?
Even so, probably the most egregious miss for me this year comes from being 4 seasons behind on My Hero Academia, which by all accounts went out.
I'm only 1. Like, I literally have to watch the second half of the last season, then the last season, then boom. Like, oh, I do need to watch it though.
On one of the most glorious finale notes in shonen anime history. But rest assured, when I'm done with the end-of-year lists and then the start of next season list, and look, the point is, I am catching up because Horikoshi, Bones, and I are due for a painfully honest reckoning. That's for next year, though. We've still got business to take care of this year. Because the best anime of 2025 is Apocalypse Hotel.
Oh, nice. I wanted to watch this.
You might have noticed this top list is a touch top-loaded with moodily philosophical wall-gazers, but I'm balancing that out here with the most
This is
cheerily
on my list of things to watch, so
wall-gazer in recent
cool.
memory. A masterpiece of absurdism in every sense of the term that frames mankind's struggle for meaning in a universe devoid of it through man-made eyes never meant to perceive such uncertainty. Unlike the humans she was built to resemble, Yachio has known her purpose on Earth since the moment she was activated. To provide every person she meets with unrivaled hospitality for as long as the doors to Hotel Gingaro stay open. Only
Amazing.
trouble is, the last time a person walked through those doors was a little over a century ago, right before the last survivors fled for the stars to escape the airborne plague that put everyone else 6 feet below the check-in desk. But she hasn't let that deter her from her daily duties as the hotel's acting manager, taken on after the last of her co-workers who's not a glorified Roomba shut down, cleaning rooms, running social media, and pushing forward with their hot spring expansion plans to ensure they'll be ready when the next guest finally arrives. Any day now.
Oh.
Oh, hey, an alien. F it, he'll do. From that fateful first encounter, we follow Yachio and co. through the centuries as new guests come and go, or in some cases never leave, new extremely specific hotel service achievements are unlocked, and Gingaro slowly rises from humble backwater inn to one of the galaxy's premier resort destinations.
Cool.
All the while awaiting the day when humanity will finally say Tadaima, if they're not all dead already. And from escapades in whiskey brewing to hastily horribly inept murder cover-ups to quiet ruminations on what it means to be alive, every step of that journey is a distinct and unpredictable delight. You never know what you're gonna get out of any given episode of Apocalypse Hotel,
Nice.
but you can rest assured that it will always be peak. And while a lot of that comes down to Cygames Pictures and their bottomless pile of gotcha money, that would be worth still quite a lot, but not nearly as much without the impossibly tight scripts of Shigeru Murakoshi and Sotaro Wada and the brilliant direction of Kana Shundo that help every moment hit exactly the right tone as the writing weaves deftly between deep melancholy and hysterical humor. Hysterical in the truest sense of that word. Apocalypse Hotel's best episode, which I won't spoil, had me sobbing with sorrow and laughing so hard I was crying at the same time. There is no other anime quite like it, and few anime across the industry's history that so thoroughly leverage the strengths of the medium as only an original, non-adapted work can. If you've yet to book your stay in its wondrously ruined world, I cannot recommend enough that you change that at your earliest convenience. So yeah, those were my top anime of 2025, and I'd love to hear what yours were in the comments down below, especially if you don't agree with me, because again, I did not have space for all of the incredible anime this year.
Damn. What a good year.
I wish I could have put other ones on it. If that's still not enough 2025 anime for you, though, make sure to check out my list of the year's trashiest ones.
We already
and stay
checked that
tuned
out,
for the
which was
worst
fun.
ones, which won't actually be out until early January, because this
We're
video
checking that
ended
out
up being
next.
so much more work than me and my editors expected, especially that honorable mentions novella. Until then, though, I'm Jeff Thu, professional anime appreciator, signing out.
Nice. Very cool. So yeah, like I said, we'll check out we've already checked out the trashiest one, which was fun. That was cool. But then next we will check out the worst, then the sequel situation, and then the ones to watch for this season. That was cool. I got so many things I need to check out. I also need to pee again. So thank you very much, guys. See you in the next one.